What's up, y'all? I'm out here on the range again, as you can see back behind me, on another cold, sunny day. The wind hadn't picked up too bad yet, though, so it should be a good day to stretch things out a little bit, and I'm gonna start it out with a little bit of rim fire. So as you can see, we got the split jelly contraption going on with the chrono and the bench down here, and then down there at exactly 27 yards, I've got the gel block set up. Got two fresh blocks down here, so shouldn't be any problem putting these things down here where y'all can see them real good. As you can see, of course, I'm sticking with that heavy clothing barrier with the layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt. Now, I've had some people comment that the critters out here ain't wearing heavy clothing, but they do have some fur and hide, so I figure this is pretty appropriate to leave it on there. And then back down here on the business end, we've got our 3 rounds here. As you can see, we got the CCI Uppercut, the CCI Stinger, and then this Armscor Precision, all of them 22 LR. Now, this CCI Uppercut, y'all know the deal on this stuff. Brand new to the market. This is actually a jacketed hollow point, not plated like these other two. So sure enough, true jacketed 22 LR there. As you can see, nickel plated case with that jacketed projectile. Now, of course, a big disclaimer that goes with this CCI Uppercut is this is formulated for short barrels for handgun use. 2.5 inch to 4 inch barrels. As you can see there, 950 feet per second is what they're claiming out of that. Now, I've tested this stuff out of several different shorter barrel lengths. I'll leave some links up above if y'all hadn't seen that. Terrible stuff in my opinion. It did absolutely terrible. I got no expansion from bare gel, t-shirt only, 4 inch barrel, 3 inch barrel. I got zero good performance out of this stuff so far. And even though it is formulated for shorter barrel use, I had several people want me to test it out of some longer stuff. So here we are. We got the CCI Uppercut again, and then the CCI Stinger. Now, this is meant for longer barrel here. As you can see, 22 LR. This is basically the plated equivalent, I guess, if you want to call it, to this Uppercut. It's actually a nickel plated case here. Now, it's a plated, again, not jacketed, hollow point, expanding round. They've got the same length case. Both of these have just a little bit longer than standard size 22 LR case. And of course, a big difference here is your velocity. You've got 1640, which this is rated out of a longer barrel. And then I figured since we was out here testing these two fancy pants high dollar rounds, we'll throw in a little budget option. So I got the Armscor Precision 22 LR. Now, this one's a little bit heavier than those. This is a 36 grainer where these are 32, but it is a hollow point, plated hollow point like the Stinger there. So it should be really interesting to see the difference between these three. And then what we're going to test them from is the good old basic Ruger 1022. Now, this one's got an 18.5 inch barrel on it, so it should get all the velocity these things have to offer. So this should be a pretty interesting one to see what these three do compared to each other. Let me get everything set up and let's check them out. All right, let's see how fast this stuff's moving out of the longer barrel. I'm going to do a 5-round average from each one of them. We'll start with this Uppercut first. Now, like I mentioned every time, if y'all aren't familiar with this lab radar, you're going to get multiple readings from it. Your big number is at the muzzle here, and then the 5 across the bottom. This time I've got set for 10 yards, 27 yards, which is where the gel is, and then I've got 50, 75, and 100. Now, I'll just tell you now, we're most likely not going to get to 75 or to 100, and may not even get to 50. This lab radar doesn't like these really small projectiles sometimes, and even triggering it sometimes is tricky because they're quiet like they are. So I had a little bit of problems out here testing, but I think I've got it set up now where it's triggering good. So let's see what this Uppercut does now. Saying again, 950 out of short barrel. So I don't know, really, I'm expecting with this 18.5, I've watched a couple of other tests with longer barrels. I think they were 16. I'm expecting about around 1300 out of this 18.5 inch barrel, I would guess. Let's see what we get here, y'all. Help if I take the safety off. 1351. 1374, and we are getting out to 100. I'm surprised. 1367. 1374. And 1400, so that stuff definitely sped on up out this 18.5 inch barrel. Let's check out the average. All right, so we had a 5-round average on that of 1373 feet per second, so that's way on up there past the short barrel velocity, an extreme spread of 49 and standard deviation of 17.7. So at 1373, this stuff makes it a pretty good long barrel round already. Let me get it reset and let's see what the Stinger does. All right, let's see what these Stingers do. Remember, again, these are saying 1640. I'm not sure what barrel that's out of, so that may be out of a 20 inch. We might not quite see that, but we should get pretty close anyway. Let's see what we get here. 1535, 1561, 1532, 1535, and 1543, so we didn't quite see that 1640. I'm betting that's probably gotten from a 20-inch barrel. Let's check the average on these. All right, so no surprise, definitely faster than the uppercut through the longer barrel. We had a 5-round average this time of 1541, an extreme spread of 28, and a standard deviation of 11.5. So what is that? That's a couple hundred feet per second faster, I believe, if I remember correctly. Let's get it reset and let's see what the Armscor does. All right, let's see what this old Armscor does. I'm gonna do 5 rounds it also. Now remember, this one is a little bit heavier. It's 36 where the others were 32, but I don't know what the velocity on this is. Probably, it says high velocity. I'm guessing around 12, 1250, something like that. Let's see what it does. $12.14. We didn't get a reading on that one. $12.68, $12.55. I didn't get a reading on that either. Let me get a couple more rounds to finish that off. All right, 2 more. We didn't get a reading there either. It's wanting to be aggravating all of a sudden. Let's see if we can get him a little closer. 12.38, let me get one more. And 12.23, so a little bit finicky getting those, but we ended up getting them. Let's check the average. All right, not too bad from the old cheap Armscor. We had a 5-round average of 12.40, an extreme spread of 55, and a standard deviation of 22.4. So 12.40, I believe the Armscor was around 13, the uppercut was around 1370. So this is about 150, 130, 40, 50 slower than the uppercut. And then of course the Stinger was up there into the 1500. So pretty good spread between the 3 of them. As far as performance in the gel, I think they all 3 gonna do pretty good, but it could be wrong. Let me get this stuff set up and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's out of its element jelly time. We'll put 1 of each round into the gel down there at 27 yards, starting with the uppercut first. Now remember, this thing is not meant for longer barrels. I mean, it's not really a bad thing, but you know, whatever you get here is basically just a bonus. Well, let's see what happens. All right, that should have been a perfect one. Let me go down there and see what I got. All right, y'all, that was absolutely perfect placement down there, but I'm telling you, there ain't nothing good to say about that stuff. Absolutely no expansion on that stuff again. Now, I've watched a video from Buffalo Outdoors just recently where he done it through a longer barrel. Now, his was 16-inch, and I don't know if he had clothing on his when he did it, but he got expansion from his, and I'm thinking he was closer than 27 yards. So at 27 yards with this clothing, nothing, absolutely nothing. Well, let's see what the Stinger does, y'all. I mean, that's just sad. That's sad is all you can say. Is pathetic is what it is, actually. Let's see what this does. Ooh, I went real close to that uppercut. Hopefully it stayed out of it. Let me go see what I got. Well, what do you know, y'all? The Stinger did absolutely what it was supposed to at 27 yards through the heavy clothing in the wrong kind of gel. So, yeah, that uppercut's trash. That uppercut is trash. Let's try this Armscor and see what it does. If this Armscor expands, then, yeah, y'all, I mean, yeah. Let's just see what happens, y'all. All right, that should have been perfect. Hopefully it didn't curve down on me. Let's go check these things out. All right, let's check this stuff out down here, y'all. Luckily for that uppercut, this Armscor didn't expand, so y'all not gonna hear me go completely ballistic about that terrible stuff, but it's still terrible, no doubt about it. So on the top here, that's the uppercut. As you can see, comes in here, that's a tumble right there, no doubt about it. At least one, keeps on going. Looks like it's about an inch short of the edge of this first block and sitting there backwards with absolutely zero expansion as usual. Your stinger, on the other hand, right up underneath it, absolute textbook perfect performance from this thing. Comes in here, immediate expansion. You can tell, doesn't care anything about that cloth. Keeps on trucking a little ways. Now, it only makes it about halfway through this first block. That's pretty much what I've seen every time I test this stinger, and it does expand like this. You get perfect and little mushroom expansion, but you definitely don't get a lot of penetration. So as far as self-defense use, that would be a no-go, but this is not marketed as a self-defense round. And then finally down there on the bottom, that's the Armscor. As you can see, this one looks almost exactly like the uppercut. Comes in here, no kind of expansion, tumbles almost in the same place here at least once. Well, it tumbles at least twice because it's sitting down here forward. Looks like it's maybe a quarter of an inch shy of the penetration of that uppercut, but other than that, it looks almost exactly the same for a fraction of the cost. So as far as the penetration on them, this uppercut is actually exactly 15 inches of penetration. The stinger down there stopped at exactly 8 1/4, and then your Armscor is at exactly 14 1/2. So good penetration from the Armscor and the uppercut, but you got zero expansion. And then from the stinger, it expanded exactly like it's supposed to do, but you just didn't get near the penetration that you did out of the other two. And here's your close-up look. Again, on the top, that's the uppercut. You can see, obviously, it tumbled right there. If you follow it on through, there it is, zero expansion. If we drop on down, we'll go all the way to the Armscor and follow it back. You can see, again, no expansion. Wound channel looks almost identical to the uppercut. And then if we hop up here to the stinger there, big difference. You can see if we compare those two, you can tell that was immediate expansion from the stinger, just like it was supposed to do. And then there you can see it, perfect little mushroom. All right, y'all, let's check out these projectiles. There ain't but one of them that did anything worth looking at and did its job perfectly, and that's this stinger right here. As you can see, just like always when you send it out of the right barrel length, this stuff performs absolutely perfect. Perfect little mushroom. As you can see there, just exactly what it's supposed to do. These two, on the other hand, absolutely nothing. The Armscor here, no kind of expansion. You know, not to make excuses, but I mean, at least it is a cheap round. The uppercut here, again, absolutely no expansion. I mean, you can just see there, it did absolutely nothing. I'm assuming it's the cloth that shut this thing down, because again, I watched another video, it did expand through a rifle length barrel. Now again, I don't know what distance that was at. I'm pretty sure it was a little bit closer than this, and I don't remember if they had any cloth on it or not. But either way, in my opinion, as a varmint type use, like a lot of people were curious about for this test, I think it's terrible. I think this thing is absolutely terrible, even for that use. From what I've seen, most people want something fragmenting or expanding from a varmint round, a 22 varmint round, and this gave you neither for what, 4 or 5 times the cost of this. Well, let's get some measurements on them and see what we got there. We'll start with the weight. The uppercut started at 32 and it's at 32.6, so nothing lost, no surprise. The Armscor here started at 36 and it is at 36.2, so again, nothing lost there. And then the stinger started at 32 also, and it's at 32.4, so nothing lost there, just a perfect little mushroom from the stinger. And then as far as the sizes, we'll do base and length on these two that didn't expand. For the uppercut, you got 218 with a length of 381. For the Armscor, you got 218 with a length of 440. And then for the stinger here, you got 377 and 376, so really nice expansion on that little 22 LR. And there you go, y'all, the CCI uppercut through a rifle barrel versus the stinger and the cheap Armscor precision here. Terrible performance again from the uppercut. There's nothing else to say about this stuff. This stuff is absolutely terrible. I don't know what kind of testing they did, apparently none, except for the most tailored, perfect control test that they could possibly do to get these things to perform like they claim they do, because otherwise these things are an absolute failure. This was an 18.5-inch barrel at 27 yards through heavy clothing, and they still could not expand. All right, y'all, I'm gonna wrap it up right there for another terrible showing from this CCI Uppercut. I would say I'm kind of surprised by this one right here, but really I'm not once you get looking at it. For that distance compared to the other tests that I've seen with this heavy clothing, it doesn't surprise me a bit. It does not perform like it's supposed to do from the length of barrels that it's even made for. It doesn't perform like it's supposed to do from much, much longer barrels. Anybody who thinks this CCI Uppercut is good ammo is either paid or an absolute delusional fanboy. It's an absolute failure as far as performing how it's meant to in defensive use. In my opinion, it's an absolute failure in varmint use compared to something like the Stinger and even that Armscor. That Armscor did exactly the same thing for a fraction of the cost, $2.99 a box versus $10 plus a box. But let me know down in the comments what you think about the performance from all three of these rounds out here today. Were you surprised by any of them? Do you actually use any one of these three for any purpose? Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you reach down and click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you turn on your notifications so you get notified when I upload new stuff. Like I always remind you, check out those affiliate links in the video description. If you're doing some shopping and pick up something after going through those links, I get a kickback from them towards the channel, so I really do appreciate that. Once again, a big thanks to all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all for supporting the channel. I've got one more interesting test planned for out here today, so stay on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.